Today, you guys, we are going to talk about relationships. We're stuck in the house, y'all. It's the coronavirus 2020 pandemic. You're not supposed to go anywhere other than to take your behind to get you some groceries for nourishment, to stay healthy and stay alive and come back home. If you have to get gas in the pursuit of that type of thing, that's okay too. You need to run to the store for some emergency purposes, but it's got to be essential. It has to make sense. We're not supposed to be hanging out on the basketball courts. We're not supposed to be banging on the gym doors wondering why they aren't open yet. We're not supposed to be at any park, especially not Rouge. We're not supposed to be doing those things. We're supposed to be in the house. If you're in a house and you're in a relationship that isn't volatile, well, either or, they have their sides, and we've got time to talk about it. So if you're in the house with a volatile relationship and you realize what's going on around you, now is the time. And this is coming without the judgment. We're simply talking about where you are at the current time in your life. This time, right now. If your relationship is volatile, and you see everything that's going on, that you should have come to the conclusion that life truthfully, before we just said it, but life truthfully can change in the matter of a day. Everything can change. And with that being said, we wish for the best and we believe for the best, but the truth is we do not know what a day can turn to, right? So I want to spend my knowingly good days living in a life that makes sense, and living with you in this volatile relationship doesn't make sense. Not when I look around me and see what's going on. I'm going to have to let this go. And if I'm scared to leave, I'm going to have to come up with a plan. I'm going to have to start with building my strength, and I'm going to come up with a plan, and then I'm going to get up out of here. But I'm not going to stay here. That's not what I'm going to do. And if you're in a relationship that's typical, I won't say typical because that can come off negative. If you're in a healthy relationship that you're happy to be in, you have your differences from time to time. That's healthy. That's a relationship. You're not going to be happy every day in the same house with the same person. And now we're in healthy relationships, and volatile are both under the roof with their spouses during this time, if you live together. Now, if you're volatile and you're stuck apart because of this time, this is the time you build your strength. This is the time. This is your break. You make the best of it. Now we have time to really spend that time we've been looking for with our spouse. Our jobs are no longer a reason for an excuse of why we can't spend time together, because we're at home. Now, there are some instances where people are still working and they're not at home with their spouse, or it's more normal than it is otherwise. They just hear and see the effects of the pandemic, but they still going to work every day. We got those instances, but I'm not speaking to those. I'm speaking to those that are in the same house, under the same roof with their significant other. This is a time for bonding. This is the time you've been looking for. It didn't come under your conditions and how you would have envisioned it, but this is the time that you have been waiting for, and what are you going to do about it? I can tell you right here and right now, the uncertainty of this thing is one thing, but the benefits that I choose to see and I am seeing in real time are some that are truly what many would call a blessing. We're getting to be around one another, have good conversation, enjoy one another, not being pressured by the time we have to wake up and go to work. We don't have those other worries. There comes some freedoms, but it comes with worries too. We don't have at that present moment. We have traded that off through this monster we call coronavirus. I appreciate this time. You know, relationships are a beautiful thing. And it's something that everybody wants. People rap about it. They sing about it. They talk about it. They write in their diaries about it. They worry us to death about it on Facebook. They talk about it on talk shows. They're talking about it on the radio. Relationships, they're a thing. They're very important to people. Now, I think a lot of times people's relationships fail because they're not done working on themselves. Now, here's the thing. You will never be done doing the work as long as you're living, right? But there's still a certain point you need to be in growth when it comes to relationships. And if I broke it down into the skeleton or down to its nuts and bolts, you have to know who you are. You have to know what you want. You have to know what it takes to get what you want. Meaning you have to know the type of factors you would need in a spouse that would make sense with the journey that you're going, knowing yourself. That's gonna line up. And you got to know this is something that you want and you in it. And you're going to work to figure it out no matter what. And at least you can be a little shaky on knowing who you are. Because when they say when it comes to your 30s, your light bulb turns on, that is so true. I can attest to it. So you might be a little iffy on who you are, but you got to have a strong sense of where you're going and how you're trying to get there, right? And you got to be honest with yourself when it comes to the person that you're spending your time with. How much does it make sense for them to be there? So once you get all that in a row, you get all of that in order, then you can go on about pursuing a relationship and the probability of it working being high.